Guten Tag. Jonathan. Suche die Diebe, die Giselle Paxton bestohlen haben. Ich habe mich mal eben damit beschäftigt, mir meine Untersuchung anzuschauen, für meine Bürgermission. Und eine ist hier ganz in der Nähe. Und da werden wir jetzt mal gucken, ob wir das erledigen können. Also suchen wir die Diebe, die unsere kleine Giselle bestohlen haben. Unsere freundliche, nette Giselle. Ich habe doch die Blutbarriere, genau. Jetzt auf L2. Der Kaplan! Komm mal her.
Best stay back, sir. Go back home, idiot.
This could be the public house Giselle Paxton mentioned. I should investigate further.
Nee, will nicht. Alter, was geht denn bei dir ab? Ich finde das so geil. Manchmal drehen die voll durch, die Gegner. Finde das gestohlene Geld.
Giselle's stolen money.
Giselle, hier ist das Geld, das die Genossen zur Unterstützung des nächsten Streiks gesammelt haben. Bitte pass gut darauf auf, bis die verdammten Vorgesetzten keine Fragen mehr stellen und mit der Schnüffelei aufhören. Danke.
BunkeOne has some unethical ways of financing their war.
Ich werde dir das mal bringen, da bin ich ja Kumpel.
Over there!
wollte gerade sagen, hier ist doch die Unterkunft, oder bin ich jetzt total mischugge? Oh, was liegt denn hier noch? Ein Anti-Vampir-Plakat. Ah! Danger is closer than you think. Fast unmittelbarer, als Sie denken. Sie sind bereits hier. Lassen Sie sie nicht das Königreich übernehmen. Haben Sie einen Vampir gesehen? Holen Sie sich Hilfe. Ichabod Throckmorton, sachkundiger Vampirjäger.
You again? What do you want?
I've identified the men who stole from you. You were right. They were members of some self-proclaimed militia.
I knew it! Did you find the money too?
Yes, here it is. They thought they could finance their activities with it.
I never thought a man like you would be kind enough to... I misjudged you. Badly. Well, thank you, sir.
Will you give the money back to your comrades, then?
Fuck those bastards who fired me. I'll give the money to Miss Gillingham. Her son Jack was a friend of mine. He was killed recently.
I know you were friends with Miss Gillingham's son, Jack. Tell me about his death.
Jack's murder has been a shock to the neighborhood. A sign that the situation is now out of control.
Why is that?
There has always been tension between the Wet Boot Boys and members of the trade union. But a murder? That's a first.
Who killed him?
No one will ever know. One thing is certain. While Jack was alive, I had one less reason to drink.
Why does that upset you so much?
I wish I had found the time and words to tell him how important he was to me before it was too late. Another failure for Giselle Paxton.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
Gut. So, hier war noch mehr in der Nähe. Finde die Halskette des Seymour Fishburne. Genau, das war, glaube ich, auch noch hier. Gar nicht so weit. Da muss ich in die Docks. Die Frage ist, kommen wir da irgendwie rüber? Mit unseren Vampirfähigkeiten. Hier ist Seymour Fishburne. Seine Mutter war Stella Fishburne, wenn ich mich jetzt nicht täusche. Sind denn die alle so hoch im Level? Was ist denn da verkehrt? Okay, ich versuch's mal am Wasser. Immer so frei. Guck mal, hier sind die alle 19. Da werde ich auch rüberkommen.
Easy does it.
Noch, der lebt natürlich wieder. gar nicht mal so wenig Schaden. So, jetzt müsste ich auch schon da sein, ne? Natürlich ein großer Bereich. Was ist denn hier?
This is a slaughterhouse.
Echt jetzt? Von Seymour für meine geliebte Mutter Stella.
From Seymour to my beloved mother Stella. Fishburne, that sneaky bastard. It's locked, all right.
Das ist ja witzig. Ich wollte gerade sagen, sie war doch hier drinne. Ich bringe ihr die jetzt.
Good evening, madam. It's Dr. Reed again. May I come in?
You best come back in the morning, Doctor.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in?
Die Bandstufe. Da war ja was. So, jetzt gucken wir erstmal hier, was wir hier so gebrauchen können. Immer ein schönes Haus. Also jetzt im Verhältnis.
It's locked.
So you have questions about the flu then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburne?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope Factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no, my Jack was a docker. He died when my Seymour was just a lad. The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that scaffolding.
How do you pay the rent then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy, but we get by all right.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know, but it's most likely linked to the gangs if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you can just die in the gutter and no one will bat an eye.
The orphan that regards you as a mother, please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
But you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
Do you have any news about Sean Hampton's shelter?
I just heard the sad saint keeps on helping the sick and poor. God bless his soul.
I believe you may find this necklace of interest.
What is it? I don't understand.
It's a gift your son was hoping to give you. But I'm afraid it links him to the nearby murders.
You mean this belongs to one of his victims? Jesus. I knew this day would come. Please, Dr. Reed, accept this for your trouble and leave me be.
This day? You mean you already knew? Are you buying my silence? I will not be an accomplice in this.
What? No. No. My son's crimes distress me more than you can imagine. But I'm his mother. I love him, I do.
Your son's gone way beyond simply bullying people. He has a taste for blood, and you know it, don't you, Stella?
One night, he told me straight up, in his own words. It was several days after one of his episodes.
Why did he confess? Did you suspect something?
No. I guess he wanted his old mum to help him fight his, demons.
Did Seymour tell you everything that night?
More than I could stand. The words he used to describe his hate, his rage, how he feels when he's done it.
Stella, I know you are ashamed of your son's crimes. So why do you protect Seymour?
I can't report my own son, can I? Not a burden I could bear.
Burden? How do you mean?
They'd hang him for sure. I won't send my only son to his death.
I'm convinced you raised Seymour the best you could. You're not responsible for what he became.
If someone ever found the courage to speak to the police, I will take my share.
Tell me about these demons Seymour needs your help to fight.
Seymour used to be such a happy child. And he is still a helping son most of the time. But when he gets angry, he can hardly contain his rage.
All men and women are born innocent, Mrs. Fishburne. But there can be a monster within any of us.
Do you think he can be cured, Doctor? Do you think something can extinguish this rage inside my Seymour?
Science has only just begun to investigate the mysteries of the human mind. Currently, we have more assumptions than fact.
There ain't no hope, then. Somehow, somewhere, my son has turned into a monster, and nothing will bring him back.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself.
Ooh,
I'm not sure the epidemic is what worries people most these days.
Maggots and liars.
Good evening, Mr. Fishburne.
Yeah.
Tell me about your victims, Seymour. Who were they? Why them? Was there a link?
Why should there be? They just kept getting on my nerves at the worst times, that's all.
How many? How many victims?
It's not like I keep records. It happens when it happens.
You feel nothing, do you? No empathy for your victims at all?
You seem pretty calm yourself, don't you?
We're not talking about me.
That right? Well, our calm's the only thing we have in common then.
Did you take pleasure in killing them, Seymour? All those people, all those lives extinguished.
I take no pleasure from it. Just gives me peace. Stills the anger. For a time.
This rage you feel, have you ever been able to control it? Resist it?
I tried. For my mum, I tried for her. Telling the truth made me feel better. For a while.
Don't you think you should seek help? Talk to someone you trust, someone who cares about you.
No. And don't dare speak about me to your colleagues either. Keep your mouth shut tight. Especially about my mum.
Why is your mother protecting you, Seymour?
I'm her son. She's the only one who knows me. Sometimes I think she knows me better than I know myself.
I understand you love her, but can't you see the awful situation you've put her in?
Do you think my mum would have a better life if I were dead? She seems so sad to know me sometimes.
I understand your mother's situation. Obtaining justice at the price of betraying her own flesh. It's quite a dilemma.
It might be my mum's wish that I end up swinging from a hangman's noose. But she wouldn't want to be the one who ties a knot round my neck.
Have you heard anything recently about Sean Hampton's shelter?
I don't give a rat's ass about Sean Hampton, his shelter, or any of the losers who sleep there.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburne.
All these whispers of monsters got folk gossiping.
Evening, Rufus.
Evening, Mr. Reed.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care.
So love to gaze at the stars.
Mortimer Goswicks Wohnung. Da gehen wir jetzt auch nochmal schnell hin, weil ich muss eh Richtung Krankenhaus.
The fog's been hiding them of late.
Pleasure, sir. Been a while since we've seen any new faces round here.
To think, he's a bloody vampire hunter.
This is no place for a gentleman.
Kriegst gleich Gentleman in dein Face.
Leech spotted! Watch out! Murdering bastard!
es sind auch einfach zu viele von denen unterwegs. Oh, diese Fackelträger, ne? Da oben oder was? Coswicks Wohnung, Mensch. Ah. Meine liebe Mutter, wenn du diesen Brief findest, dann bin ich nicht mehr. Ich will, dass du weißt, dass ich nicht deinetwegen gehe. Ich verlasse diese Welt, weil das erdrückende Gewicht des Daseins in diesen Zeiten für mich zu viel für mich ist. Manchmal fühle ich mich, als wären Baudelaires Verse als Echo meines eigenen Herzens geschrieben worden. Die Wolken niedrig und flach wie ein Deckel senken sich auf den Geist, der seufzt unter Leidesmacht. Den ganzen Himmel verhüllen sie und beschenken mit schwarzem Tage, der trauriger ist wie die Nacht. Es ist so wunderschön, wie es schmerzhaft ist, Mutter. Ich kann nicht noch länger leiden. Ich möchte nicht, dass du mich umzustimmen versuchst, denn es würde das Unvermeidbare nur herauszögern. Würde es dir gelingen, meinen ersten Versuch zu verhindern, ich würde es erneut machen. Leb wohl, dein Sohn Mortimer.
In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust.
Ne, den geben wir ihm auch. Da bin ich ja Kumpel. Guten Tag. Ach, Mensch. Wo sind wir denn hier jetzt gelandet? Also das Krankenhaus ist hinter mir. Wo war der denn? War der in der... War der unten?
That's
Oder auch in so einer komischen Seitenbucht. Ah, ja.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
I have retrieved your letter, Mr. Goswick. I can assure you that nobody read it but me.
Thank you. This is for you, then. For your help. And for your silence.
I think you should talk to your mother. It would be good for both of you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I'll think about it. Now please, let me be.
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about an unbearable feeling of despair, while the world crumbles around you. Tell me more about it.
There's nothing more to say, really. It's hurtful, it's unbearable, and I don't ask anyone to understand what I feel.
Despair is a deadly poison I've tasted myself, sir. We're only tempted to drink it because we're terrified by the uncertainty of the next minute.
I know that perfectly, Doctor. For I waited for so long, hoping that the next minute would be less unbearable.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Mensch, habe ich ja viel geschafft.